Howdy. So again, we are just here in town for a couple hours before we head up to Como to take on the Tigers. This will kick off the part of the big part of our schedule, which is our SEC focus. The SEC has done really well in our non-conference portion across the league. 16 teams have really the second highest winning percentage against other conferences. I think we've won over 75% of our matches against the other conferences, which of course means that really in these games against SEC versus SEC contests, opportunities for us to really gain in our resume for postseason. We come into this match with a 5-3 record. Going into Como has been a difficult one for us over the past. It's never been easy. The last time we traveled up there was an interesting one. That was when a couple goals were taken away from us mysteriously. We needed a tie to advance to postseason, and the goals were taken away to make sure that we didn't get the tie, and our season ended while we were up there. So going in there will be one where we need to really focus on kind of cleaning up some of the things from our game in stores. UConn with a real masterpiece in finishing their chances, and us a real debacle in not finishing our chances. But if you're going to go into post non-conference portion, it's a good opportunity for us to look at ourselves, see the things that we've got to do better at, which is that exact thing, and really focus on what we've got to do to be the best we can be. So going into Mizzou, which is a team that is athletic, is very well coached, and a team that is coming in hungry after an end of non-con against Duke. It's got two teams that are very hungry. We start off we go back into our radio show tomorrow night. That's Tuesday at Rudy's Barbecue at 6 o'clock, and we'll be on there every Tuesday night at 6 o'clock over at Rudy's, the Aggie Soccer Hour. That kicks off again, and we'll be going through the end of the regular season. That's something that, again, it's been going on for I think about 14 years now, and something that we look forward to as a way to promote our players and our home contests. Then, of course, on Sunday is our Turn It Gold game when OU comes to town. OU's having a great season. They've just finished a big road win against the University of Tulsa. The Sooners come in with, I think they're 7-1 on the season, and are really scoring goals. They've been very stout in the way that they've been defending. Matt Mott, former Ole Miss coach, is the coach there. He's done a wonderful job in turning around the OU program. But this game will have an even bigger cause on top of the fact that it's a huge SEC match. This is where we do try to raise money in the fight against pediatric cancer. We work along with the Turn It Gold Foundation. This is the same foundation that baseball has started to work with in the last couple of years. We've been working with this group, which was started by Aggie Moms. We've been working with them for more than a decade, and they have raised millions of dollars in the fight against juvenile cancer. A group out of Houston. They work specifically with research scientists on trying to fight this terrible disease that takes more than, if we're here in Kyle Field right now, this disease takes almost as many. If you were to fill Kyle Field with kids, that's how many kids are killed every year by juvenile cancer. So if you need an image of how terrible this is, that's how many kids are dying every year by juvenile cancer. It's one of the least funded fights in our country, and we think it's incredibly important that we shine a spotlight on whatever we can do to take this to the forefront, and anything we can do to help raise money for this. So we'll be auctioning off the jerseys that our players wear in this game. This is a special game where we actually wear a version of our typical Texas A&M uniform, but it's a gold and white instead of maroon and white. Those will be up for auction online. You go to 12thman.com/turnitgold. Then you also have the opportunity to buy replica jerseys at the game, and there'll be women from the Trinity Gold Foundation there at Ellis Field. That game kicks off at 2 o'clock, and you can buy those, and all 100% of that money goes to the fight against juvenile cancer. And one of the cool things about the Trinity Gold Foundation is there's not a lot of fluff and a lot of administrative costs that goes into this. 100% of it goes directly to fighting kids' cancer. So this is the one game a year that we're allowed to do something like this. Again, it's something that is near and dear to our heart and something that we think is vitally important. So I'll open up to questions on anything.
We'll start with Richard Zane from Texags.
Hi, Coach. What were your main takeaways from the road trip to Central Connecticut State and then UConn? And then what adjustments will need to be made tactically or personnel-wise as you face Mizzou on Thursday, given the added importance of a conference match?
Well, as we were going through the games in Connecticut, the first game we were able to get another shutout. It was our third shutout win in a row, and we were kind of flying kind of high coming out of that. Good goals by Jazz Wilkinson, who was our leading scorer last year. We were excited about kind of getting her first goal of the season. It was a great 1v1 goal that she scored. And then, because those were difficult games, and these sounds like excuses, but it was just part of what the game had to be. First time that we'd played on artificial turf in the 13 years since we left the Big 12. So getting used to that in the first half of that game took some time to get used to, but it was nice for us to kind of explode in the second half with a lot more chances. Going over to Stores and playing on their artificial turf surface was different, and they really jumped on us. And even though in the first half we created some chances, I mean, they punished us with the opportunities that they had, and the chances that they had. I think they took 9 shots, they scored 6 goals, and just a real way for us to look at what we've got to do in the last 10 yards of our 18-yard box, and what we can do better in the final 10 yards of our attacking areas. That's where they really put it to us, and that's a really good thing for us to look at. So we've had some injuries. We had some illness this past weekend that limited what we could do personnel-wise. We need to try to get those people back into commission so we can be a little bit more at full force. But more than anything, from a tactical standpoint, we've identified the enemy, and the enemy is us, and we've got to do just a better job of the sticking with the game plan that we talk about, and doing the things that kind of fit into playing to our strengths, and not avoiding the things that are necessary for us to win.
We're going to go back to TV row, Tyler.
Yeah. Coach, is Sundays, is it concerning moving forward, or do you look at the whole non-con as a whole, and do you feel ready for SEC play?
Well, I think we'll be ready. Once the game got a little bit out of hand, we were like, okay, well, we're going to go ahead and we have to flush this, and we've got to know that we have another road game coming up in Missouri in just a couple of days after we get back. So we've got to be able to flush this and move forward. So and really a lot of the players who went in towards the end of the game in Stores did terrific. I mean, their effort was outstanding, and got to really look at what they did as far as stepping on the field. Some players who hadn't played as much did outstanding, and their effort was really, really something to be commended, and we do commend what they were able to do. So that actually was something that we look at as one of the real high notes of that particular game. But we'd like to look at it as a one-off. We don't get beat by that score line, too often, and it's one of the deals where we will have to say, okay, this is going to be some unkind video for us to look at, but this is video that is going to have to make us better. Either learn from it, or you're going to keep repeating the same mistakes. And it is, like I said, it's the last 6 to 10 yards of the way we were defending that have to be cleaned up. And in attack, we just have to do a better job of taking care of the ball. And pure and simple, we were not taking care of the ball at all on Sunday. And those are things that I think that with the talent that we have, the roster we have, we can do that. But the focus has got to be there, and the commitment's got to be there.
We got Travis front row here.
To that, it seemed like a few of the goals were lost aerial duels there in the sixes. Is that, like you said, is that kind of a one-off, or is that something that has concern to you?
Well, it's a concern, but it's also a deal where we think that we can right that wrong, and we've got the personnel to make that better.
We got Luke over here, third row to the left.
Coach, I know it's been a while since y'all have consistently played Oklahoma, but what do you remember about those matchups and the kind of program that they have up there?
Well, like I said before, is going back to Big 12 days, our games against the Sooners have always been. We've had some great games against them. I think we have a pretty strong win total over them, but you can wash a lot of that out. They've had a lot of coaches come in and go out over the years. Matt Mott, who is there now, is a colleague and a friend. He's somebody that is going to do whatever it takes to win, and his style of his teams are looking at the strengths of the personnel that he has and playing a style that's not going to put those players in any kind of tactical jeopardy. So if they have to get the ball forward quickly because they don't want to take risks in their own half, that's what they're going to do. If they have to do X to get to the point to win, then that's what they're going to do. And they're kind of his style is kind of no nonsense, and they'll get after it. And I think that being at that program, he's in a program where they're going to have the resources to do some of the fun things that he wants to do. I know that they're expecting, they're going to really have a big push on Thursday. A lot of fireworks, a lot of promotion, a lot of things that he wants to really do to try to fill their arena and their stadium to have a big night on their first SEC game. I think that's great. I think it's cool to see, especially in our league, the way that these other schools are really putting a big spotlight on women's soccer, and you look at the crowds that are and the focus that's being put by the other schools in the SEC on women's soccer, and the type of feedback that's coming from the students at those other schools and the kind of crowds that they're getting at those places. It's wonderful. You see what's happening at Arkansas. You see what's happening at Oklahoma. You see what's happening, across the board in the league. South Carolina has had one of the biggest crowds in the country. It's great to see. They sometimes the cameras in their games are on the same side as where the crowd is. It'd be nice if they turn those cameras around and put it on the huge crowds, because these crowds are bigger than they've got at their volleyball games, are bigger than they've got at a lot of their basketball games, and it's a pretty well kept secret that women's soccer in the SEC is really, really dynamic, and it's growing. And it's the same thing with us. We've had some huge commitments by big time national recruits for us in the last few days, and it's because the veil is being pulled off of the secrets of how good SEC soccer is. That it's always been known, the national reputation that Texas A&M has, but now that how even with the new model in college sports, how the SEC is starting to separate itself, and women's soccer is no different.